Chapter 65, The Cat and Mouse Game. Helmer left his bedroom but not before locking the entrance to it, and when he was in halfway up the stairs he asked, "Are you coming?" Ginger did not wait for another invitation, and Helmer reached the loft nest before his lover, and he took that chance to hide. And in front of the door, Ginger found a note that read, "Find me." Allan, the loft nest was quite spacious with a large bed in the center, and there were several sofas near the windows and a couple of closets and a single vanity and a balcony with an outdoor bath. The balcony faced the ocean and it was decorated with begonias, tulips, and carnations. And each time the ocean breeze would enter, it would carry with it the smell of Caron's favorite flowers. And Ginger searched about the place, and after 20 minutes, he finally looked under the bed. "You found me," said Helmer, smiling. And Ginger kneeled down on the floor, and he tried to reach for Helmer, and Helmer rolled away to be at the other side of the bed. And when Ginger stood up, Helmer was gone again, and he looked about and he could not find him, not even under the bed. When he looked up, he saw that Helmer was flying about, and Ginger tried to jump for him to reach him, but Helmer would not come down, and in the end, Ginger sat down on the bed to wait for Helmer to get bored of flying about. And since Ginger had finally given up his chase, Helmer landed behind him, and in mimicry of a cat, Helmer rubbed his back against Ginger's shoulder, and he then rubbed his cheek against his face before giving him a playful slap, because you know that's what cats do. They sometimes do it and then they just hit you for no reason. At this provocation, Ginger held on to both fragile hands as he placed them over Helmer's head, and he positioned himself on top of his lover, and he used one hand to withstand Helmer, and with the other he lifted the nightgown, and his eyes invited the delicate feminine legs, the beautiful legs, and the silky undergarments. And before he saw the belly button, ropes tied themselves around his arms and legs, and they pulled him back away from his lover, and Ginger was left suspended on top of the bed, with ropes stretching him out like the Vitruvian man. "You forget your place, Mouse," barked Helmer before releasing his lover, and then he said with a quaint smile, Helmer had a quaint smile very much like the Cheshire Cat. You know how the Cheshire Cat gets that smile? "You're very funny, Mr. Cat," said Ginger, laughing, and remembering their arrangements, Ginger with this rope first, and he crawled on the bed till he reached the tiny feet, and he nibbled and licked at the little toes, and this tickling made Helmer emit his signature nervous laughter, and encouraged by this reaction, Ginger inched slowly a little closer and closer, and slowly making his way out from the feet to the knees till he finally reached the undergarments. And Helmer restrained Ginger's advancement with his hand, and he sat up and he asked Ginger, Who do you want to spend today with, Helmer or the Arch Magus?" "It depends. Who do you prefer, Ginger or Ambrose, the son of the High Priest Asher?" asked Ginger, smiling coolly. "I prefer Ginger, just boring, uninterested, uninspired Ginger," said Helmer, smiling. And this answer made Ginger very happy, and it was the first time someone took interest in Ambrose the person, and not Ambrose the son of the high priest. "If Ginger's the one you prefer, then I want my helmet, my sweet, delicate, thorny pink rose," said Ginger, crawling closer to his lover's face, and for the first time Helmer allowed Ginger to take control, and he allowed for his lover to disrobe him. And Ginger explored Helmer's body with his hands, and he caressed the face, the slender chest, the navel, the legs, and the small feet that he found so enticing. And Helmer even allowed Ginger to toy with his instrument and to reach deep into his very core. Helmer today is quite the docile little lamb, isn't he?" commented Ginger happily as he amused himself with his little game. "Yes, this is Helmer. This is how Helmer was trained. You can do to me what you will, and I will not fight back," said Helmer, smiling sadly. "Train?" asked Ginger, laughing. "So that is what you meant by being experienced. So tell me, my sweet, delicate Rose, what sort of training did you get?" "Nothing useful, I'm afraid," said Helmer before emitting a nervous laughter. "Most of the time I'm just stumbling around in the dark till I hit a wall or I get lucky. If you tell me what you like, then I would not have to guess so much. For now, I just want to keep fooling around a little more," said Ginger before he continued to caress the slender frame, and eventually this playful teasing got Helmer inspired enough to be ready for action. And at this point, Ginger fell back onto his old habits, and he turned around and he presented himself to his lover. And Helmer kissed Ginger's back and drew near enough to whisper into his ear, "How about it today we trade roles? You kiss me, and then you split me in half," said Helmer before biting his lover's earlobe. Ginger lied, for the little bite made him ticklish, and he kissed Helmer's mouth, and then he said, "If you want to help me, but I doubt you will get much satisfaction from my pathetic little sausage. So unlike your exquisite long magic wand." "I wouldn't say long, just above average," said Helmer, chuckling while he patted Ginger's exquisite red hair. "Above average or not, it is certainly the longest I have ever seen," said Ginger, pouting. "You flatter me," said Helmer, smiling. And Helmer took Ginger's face into his hand and he enticed to kiss the tip of his magic wand. And Ginger proceeded to encourage his lover, and after that play session was finished, Ginger proceeded to try to split Helmer in half with the pathetic little sausage. And to flatter his lover, Helmer started to give fake moans of pleasure. And Ginger noticed, so he moved away from his lover, and smiling sadly, Helmer said, "My apologies. Lying at this point is a compulsory behavior." "It's fine, I'm used to people faking it to spare my feelings," said Ginger, giving a pathetic, weepy smile. "Maybe it is your preferred position that is the problem, and let's try something else to see if it helps," suggested Helmer. "Well, I guess let's just try something else, Mr. Esper," said Ginger, smiling shyly. And at that moment, Helmer had his back turned to his lover, and he was all for. And Helmer sat up, and he stacked a couple of pillows, and he positioned himself in the plow yoga position, and using the pillows as back support, and with his hand he opened his defenses wide. "I am going to open myself to you as much as possible, and try, and this time attempt to push yourself into me as deep as you are able to," explained Helmer. Ginger came to stand near the bed, and from a standing position he had a better angle of attack. And he attempted once again to split his lover in half, and each time he pushed, he tried to work himself deeper and deeper. And after a couple of failed attempts, Helmer gasped and he said, "You found me." Having found his lover, Ginger continued with more enthusiasm, and he was able to elicit from Helmer genuine gasps and moans, and he was finally able to enjoy his lover to his heart's desire. And after 4.5 hours, Ginger was satisfied. As for Helmer, it had been a lukewarm experience, an average experience at best. He kept this to himself, for he was feeling very, very lonely, and at the moment Ginger was the only person interested in being with him. And once his lover recovered from his stupor, he quickly got out of bed and dressed. He kissed his lover on the cheek, and then he said, "This was fun, Helmer, and maybe next time you can use a bit of magic to spice things up in the bedchambers. Maybe we can even use some of your elemental friends." Helmer gave a fake smile and he said, "Or maybe not. Elementals are not sluts, and they will never agree to do this for you regardless of how much mana I offer them." "Boo," pouted Ginger. "Where are they exactly? Maybe I can try to convince them to make an exception just for me." "They are here, but not here," said Helmer, still giving a fake smile. Hey, elementals, show yourselves to me," said Ginger playfully. And in response to this call, Inanni started to scratch at the door. And Ginger opened the door, and he was greeted by a normal-looking cat. Inanni did her best mimicry of a meow. Meow. Ginger saw the cat, and he said, "Boo, you are such a disappointment to me." "I know," said Helmer, still maintaining that fake smile. "I want to see you again, though," said Ginger. And he made his way to the writing table, and he scribbled all the times he was free to visit his lover at his convenience. And he moved this around to to be as accommodating to his lover's schedule. "Yes, this arrangement works for me," said Ambrose, "and let's make our next appointment tomorrow at midnight. And I will come sooner, but with the visitors, I'm having to work for longer hours than I would like." "Just out of curiosity, why do you try to seduce me?" asked Helmer. "I have an awful personality, an ugly face, and a disgusting body. Other than my magic, I haven't much to offer, and you did not know at the time that I had such an above-average instrument to work with." "Oh, that is simple. I found it very exciting to be with such a dangerous, wicked, sinful individual. There was a newness to you, and your magic was also so unlike anything I have ever seen. And that is why I disrobed myself when you were busy spellcasting. The thought of being with Waldenas's nephew felt like the worst sin I had ever committed, said Ambrose thoughtlessly. Helmer gave a face smile. Helmer's face now smile became even more pronounced. Oh, why you had to say something so awful? He then said with a strange inflection in his voice, I don't doubt it. You're welcome to sing with me as much as you like. Have a nice day, Father Ambrose. It's Ginger, retorted Father Ambrose. When I'm with you, I want to be just Ginger. Ambrose left Helmer alone, and as soon as he left the bedroom, Helmer started crying into a pillow, and as his anguish and loneliness increased, he stopped using the pillow to muffle his cries. Ginger was only halfway down the stair when he heard Helmer crying, and he opened the door slowly. He opened slowly the bedroom door. Helmer was by now completely oblivious to everything around him, and he was sinking deeper and deeper into his sorrow and desperation. And it was then when he felt a warm body next to him, and Ginger was sitting beside Helmer with his arms around him, and he took Helmer's hand and he squeezed him firmly to show his lover that he was not alone. What's the matter, Helmer? asked Father Ambrose. Are you lonely? Ginger can stay with you a little longer if that makes you feel better. Did it ever cross your mind? Did you ever even consider for a second, started saying Helmer, struggling through his desperation. Did you even think that Helmer? It's okay, said Father Ambrose, reassuring Helmer. Take your time, I'm not going anywhere. That Helmer, the Crown Prince of King Waldenas wants to, said Helmer. The mere thought had never crossed Father Ambrose's mind, and he was so used to dealing with mundane people with boring, mundane scenes, and the lost lamb reached out to him, and instead of helping him, he had devoured it. And Ambrose knew himself to be imperfect, but he thought that he was not bad as his father Asher. And Ambrose couldn't help but laugh at himself, and Helmer, misinterpreting this laugh, he sunk deeper into despair. I am sorry, Helmer. I'm just laughing at myself. I have become my father. That is what I find very amusing. There, let it all out. As soon as you are done crying, I will hear your confession, said Father Ambrose, patting Helmer's trembling hand. And after crying for an hour, Helmer finally regained some control of his emotions, and he drew very near Ambrose to whisper into his ear. This is my confession, Father Ambrose, and I entrust in you with my secrets. And please do not repeat them, otherwise I will never to trust another person ever again. I am ready to hear your confession, my son, said Father Ambrose. Helmer drew nearer still to Ambrose's ear, and then for the first time in a long time, he spoke the unadulterated truth. Alright, that's the end of that chapter. Bye-bye.